We all know that shape against a city skyline. It's a titan of destruction, a product of the modern age, a creature of film, science fiction, and atomic anxiety. We see that silhouette, and we all think of one name, Godzilla. But Japan's fear of giant monsters didn't start with the atomic age. It was born from something much, much older. It comes from the rage of the unburied, the sorrow of forgotten wars. It was born from folklore, dark magic, and a thirst for vengeance that couldn't be contained by the grave. Before Godzilla, there was the Gashadokuro, and this is its story. Section 1. The Reveal. What is the Gashadokuro? The name itself is chillingly onomatopoeic. Gashadokuro. It comes from the sound gaki gaki, the horrifying, grinding rattle of dry bones scraping against each other. It's the sound of its own arrival, and when it shows up, you can't mistake it. The Gashadokuro, also called the dokuro or giant skull, is a colossal skeleton. Legends say it's 15 times the size of a normal person, and some tales claim it towers up to 90 feet tall. Other sources put it closer to 50 feet, but let's be honest, either way, you're in for a bad night. It appears in the dead of night, a skeletal giant wandering the countryside. But this isn't just any monster. It's an amalgamation, a literal walking mass grave. The Gashadokuro is formed from the collected bones of hundreds of people who died from starvation, plague, or battle, whose bodies were never given proper burial rites. It's a yukaya, supernatural being from Japanese folklore born, not of flesh, but of pure collective resentment. This is a spirit of absolute malice, driven by a bottomless hunger and an unending grudge against the living. It doesn't haunt people, it hunts them. Its goal is simple and gruesome, to snatch unsuspecting humans, either crushing them in its massive, bony hands or just biting off their heads to drink the blood that sprays out. This is not a creature you can reason with. It's an echo of mass death, a physical symbol of chaos and neglect. Section 2. The Origin, a monster from Malice. How does a nightmare like this even come to exist? The answer is tied directly to Japanese spiritual beliefs, especially the profound importance of funeral rites. In both Shinto and Buddhist traditions, performing the proper ceremonies for the dead isn't just a sign of respect. It's a crucial step to ensure a soul can pass peacefully into the afterlife. A soul that's neglected, left adrift by a disrespected death, can become an Onryō, a vengeful ghost. Now, imagine that rage and abandonment, not from one soul, but from hundreds. Think of the sprawling battlefields of feudal Japan, littered with the bodies of fallen soldiers. Think of entire villages wiped out by famine, their people left to starve with no one to bury them. According to the legends, the immense, concentrated energy of all that suffering begins to ferment. Their anger and pain remain long after flesh has rotted away, seeping into the very bones left behind. This potent, supernatural grudge acts as a binding agent. The scattered bones of hundreds of victims begin to stir, to gather, to knit themselves into a single horrifying mass. What rises from the dirt is the Gashadokuro, a singular monster born from a multitude of deaths. It embodies the consequences of forgetting the dead, a terrifying reminder that those who aren't given peace in death will return to steal it from the living. Because so many bodies are needed to form one, these abominations were thought to be more common in the past, when war and famine were a grim reality of everyday life. Section 3. The Legend. A daughter as vengeance. The most famous story connected to the Gashadokuro isn't just any old folktale. It's tied to a real historical figure, a rebellious 10th century samurai named Taira no Masakado. Masakado lived during the Heian period. While the capital of Kyoto was a place of refined courtly culture, the provinces were a different story. Masakado was a powerful warrior, and what started as family disputes in 935 CE soon blew up into a full-scale insurrection. He challenged the central government's authority directly, and by 939, he was so bold that he conquered several provinces and declared himself the new emperor. Of course, the government in Kyoto couldn't let that stand. A bounty was put on his head, and in 940, Masakado was killed in battle by his own cousin. His head was taken to the capital and displayed in the marketplace as a warning. Denied a proper burial, his spirit was destined for unrest. But the history ends there, and the legend begins. They say Masakado had a daughter, Princess Takiyasha, who was a powerful sorceress in her own right. Furious over her father's death and dishonor, she retreated to the ruins of their family palace at Suma. There, she plotted her revenge. Using her knowledge of dark magic, she read from a spell scroll and performed a forbidden ritual. She summoned a monster. From the bones of the soldiers who died fighting for her father, she conjured the very first Gashadokuro. She then unleashed this colossal skeleton on the city of Kyoto, the seat of the government that had destroyed her family. It was an act of pure, spectacular vengeance. This incredible moment was immortalized in the 19th century by the legendary ukiyo-e artist Utagawa Kuniyoshi. His woodblock triptych, Takiyasha the Witch and the Skeleton Spectre, is one of the most iconic images in Japanese folklore. It shows the Gashadokuro, impossibly huge, ripping through the palace blinds as it looms over the emperor's men. Kuniyoshi's masterpiece didn't just capture a story. It defined the Gashadokuro for all future generations, cementing its place as Japan's quintessential giant monster. Section 4. The hunt, powers, and survival running into a Gashadokuro isn't a fight. It's a death sentence. At up to 90 feet tall, its sheer scale is an impossible advantage. This isn't a creature you can take down with swords or arrows. In fact, most legends agree it's practically invulnerable. Being made of the bones of the dead and powered by supernatural energy, it can't be killed in any normal way. Its powers make it an even more perfect predator. The Gashadokuro is said to have the power of invisibility, allowing it to creep up on its victims completely unseen. You could be walking down a lonely road at night, totally unaware that a skeletal behemoth is silently stalking you, its bony fingers reaching down from the dark. Only two things signal its approach. The first is a strange, persistent ringing in your ears. The second, if you're close enough to hear it, is the sound that gives it its name, that faint but distinct gaki-gaki rattle of bone on bone. If you hear either of those sounds, there's only one thing to do: run and hide. There's no complex strategy here. You can't fight it, you can't reason with it, and you definitely can't outrun it for long. Your only hope is to find shelter, stay hidden, and pray that it moves on. The Gashadokuro exists in a state of pure, burning rage. It will keep hunting until the collective hatred that fuels it finally burns out. Only then will the bones clatter to the ground, its temporary life spent until the next mass grave provides the fuel for another one. Section 5. The Bridge, Japan's first giant monster. While the Gashadokuro is a supernatural yokai and Godzilla is science fiction, their spiritual DNA is unmistakable. The Gashadokuro walked so that the Kaiju could run. It established the blueprint for giant monsters in the Japanese cultural imagination. Think about it. Both the Gashadokuro and the best versions of Godzilla are born from mass human tragedy. The Gashadokuro is formed from the victims of war and famine. The original 1954 Godzilla was a direct metaphor for the horrors of nuclear war, a beast awakened by the atomic bomb. Both creatures are, in their own way, vengeful spirits, ghosts of humanity's failures, coming back to wreak havoc. They are forces of immense, indiscriminate destruction, but they are also tragic figures. The Gashadokuro is the embodiment of suffering souls denied peace. Godzilla is often shown as a creature in pain, a victim of our own hubris, lashing out at the world T. The legacy of the Gashadokuro continues to rattle through modern pop culture, thanks to artists like Shigeru Mizuki, who revitalized interest in yokai after World War II with his manga Jiga no Kitaro. The starving skeleton found a whole new audience. From there, it has appeared in anime, manga, and video games like Nioh 2 and the Castlevania series. Its horrifying form a perfect fit for modern fantasy and horror. It stands as a testament to the enduring power of folklore. Long before we had the special effects to bring giant monsters to life on screen, they existed in stories and art and in our deepest fears. The Gashadokuro is more than just a scary skeleton. It's a 1,000-year-old legend born from war, black magic, and a daughter's rage. It's a haunting symbol of what happens when the dead are forgotten, and a chilling reminder of Japan's first, and perhaps most terrifying, giant monster. So the next time you're alone, in the quiet of the night, if you happen to hear a faint ringing in your ears, or a strange, distant rattling on the wind, it would be wise to run. If you enjoyed this trip into the darker side of Japanese folklore, be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe for more stories from myth and legend, and let us know in the comments which yokai you want to see us explore next.